Welcome to another episode of Hello World with your girl Joy from Be the Difference. What's going on, guys? How's everybody day going? I hope that it's beautiful and that it's amazing. While you are all gathering in, please thumbs up the live, double tap, and share. Do whatever you can to help uh, get the live out. That would be greatly appreciated. My name is Joy. Be the Difference is the company that I work for. If you go to the top of your screen, double tap on the description section, you will see a website. Feel free to click on that website and shop with your heart's content. Um, what we do is print positive messages on clothing. It is meant to inspire the person wearing and those that see the messages. So everything that we try to do is made to benefit the greater good of humanity. And if it can't benefit the greater good of humanity, then we just don't participate or try our best not to be a part of it. Hence why you don't really see us talking about certain things. But on Hello World, we do, because it's geared towards talking about everything and anything. And today, as I was driving here, I saw a couple of things that kind of broke my heart a little bit. Um, and I know maybe you guys, if you ever get to know me, you'd be like, or if you're just passing through for the first time, you're like, oh, you're so sensitive, you're too sensitive. Well, hey, maybe this world needs a lot more people who are too sensitive and just care too much for others and wanting to see others thrive and not be harmed or hurt or ever stay in a state of despair. So the things that I saw this morning really, um, it kind of hurt. Um, and what I talk, what the topic is today, it says expectations. So we're going to talk about different forms of expectations and what it does and how it can impact people, um, good and bad. Because there's a healthy form of expectations, and then there's an unhealthy form of expectations, and then there's an expectations that we sometimes hold that ends up crushing our spirits. So the quote that I want to use is from one of my books. I don't remember which one it came out of. I just assume it's probably the first or second book. I don't know. But it says, your ego is only crushed when your expectations supersede the capacity of another human's capabilities. I'll read that for you one more time. Your ego is only crushed when your expectations supersede the capacity of another human's capabilities. I love this quote so much because it's so true. It is very true. And a lot of us, whether we realize it or not, we have built our whole lives on an ego that really holds us back a lot of times from thriving in humanity. And therefore, when things don't go according to plan, i.e., expectations, then we're all of a sudden crushed, hurt, startled, we're thrown aback, kind of like how I felt when I was driving in. So I'll tell you the scenarios that I saw. The first scenario that I saw, which really hurt me and kind of traumatized me a little bit, as I was driving, I came to a stoplight. The bus and another car were both going through the stoplight, and I'm just like, why are they not stopping at the stoplight? Then the driver from the truck opened their door, started screaming and hollering at the bus driver. I don't know what transpired before because I wasn't there, but I do know what I saw was a really angry man yelling at a bus yelling at a bus. Basically, the bus driver came parallel to the driver's side, yelled out some obscenities, and then went back into his car. I guess he had a straw or something, I don't know. But he found whatever he could and threw it at the bus, as if it was going to penetrate the bus windshield to break it and therefore get the person that had upset him so desperately to the point of him getting out of his vehicle, wanting to yell at the top of his lungs, risking his safety and the safety of the bus driver and all the people that were on the bus, just to get his get back, because he could not hold his emotions in. When has it ever become such a okay thing for us to not be able to function properly through our emotions? Why must we always lash out? Why must we always make each other victims of our anger? Why is that acceptable? And then you have little innocent bystanders like myself and maybe the other cars that were beside me, just looking at this all unfold, baffled. Maybe just I was the only one baffled. I don't know. Maybe the other people were not even paying attention and didn't see what was going on. But I was very much so invested in this because I was just like, wow. One, you're a man. Two, you're yelling at a woman. That kind of traumatized me already, because lately I've been seeing a lot of DV videos, and we've recently seen how some DV mogul got the lesser of all the charges, and people were celebrating this. I just didn't understand how you could celebrate a person who got off on charges. You don't even know this person. You don't know the history of this person. You've never spent a day with this person. And knowing all of the traumatizing moments that people testified to, you then now see these videos that occur where this man threw a cup at his spouse while the children were standing there, the little boy trying to hold his dad back like, stop, don't do it, and he smacked her across the head. But yet we celebrate this. Have my expectations superseded another human's capabilities? At what point in time will we not allow our anger to be okay to cause bodily harm to others, emotional harm to others, physical harm to others, mental harm to others? I just don't get it. Though that was the first thing. Then the second thing was that video I saw. Then the third thing, as I was driving down the street, I saw an addict running up the street, dropped a piece of paper, got the paper, stopped and looked at the paper, started crying, dropped to the ground, and was just looking at the paper. It is almost 1,000 degrees outside. And yet, all of this display of emotions, high as a kite. When are we going to start not being okay with these types of scenarios and actually talk about them and hit them head on? Or are my expectations so high that it's just superseding everything else? I don't know. My point is, at what point in time are we all going to be fed up with life just being okay? It's normal that we have people lashing out, that we have people resorting to violence to the people that they say they love or had loved at one point, to the point where you had a child with this person and then you display violent activity in front of your children, who then maybe grow up to be just like my dad. And then we have the generational curse that will be continuing of violence, domestic violence. All because you had not restrained yourself and spoken to your spouse in a manner where you could eloquently decipher and put together some vernacular so that you can express how upset you are versus how upset you are versus how upset you are versus how upset you are, to the point where your children now become not only victims but a part of the system and a part of the plan. And then you say, I don't know where they get it from. I think the worst part of that video was seeing the little kids watching their dad beat the daylights out of their mom. And that was just one video. That was just one video. But then on the other hand, we have people who celebrate when a mogul who is known to terrorize and beat up other people, male or female, and be okay with, yay, you're going to be getting out soon. Congratulations for beating the charges. Imagine if you saw those same videos over and over again of the same person doing the same thing that I saw in the video yesterday of this man terrorizing his spouse. And I don't know how she felt. I don't know how she felt, because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure she's getting used to being smacked upside her head, but she stays. Why? I don't know. Maybe for the kids, maybe for lack of being able to get loose. Because, it gets a little worse when you try to flee from a domesticated situation like that. But yet people's like, I don't understand why people stay. Do you have that much ego where you can't see somebody where they are and where they're hurting and why they can't do certain things, why they literally can't do certain things? Why are your expectations, oh, well, they deserved it because they stayed? Let you be the person, let you substitute real quick, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens when you substitute. What happens? When you become the victim, you can't go nowhere, but yet you're like, oh, well, why is it okay that we have become so desensitized to caring for other people? Why is that okay? I absolutely know I'm not the only person that does not think that these types of behaviors are okay. I understand that, I know that. But there's not enough of us talking about how this is a direct violation of human or humanity. It's a direct violation of humanity when we can lash out and yell at each other, get out of our vehicles and throw things at each other without regard, where we know there's a camera behind us in the kitchen recording us, but we're still so angry to the fact that we're still smacking people upside their head. The woman of your kids. And then you don't even care, even more don't even care because your son is tapping you like, Dad, leave her alone. In real time, we see this, but where's the uproar? We have so much uproar for things that we cannot control, i.e. our government and what they say that we can and cannot do. We have so much uproar about that, but then every day there's somebody that's getting smacked up beside their head, strangled almost to near never being able to breathe again. But we always end up, well, not we, but a lot of people say, well, why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you leave? How dare us judge another person's situation by saying, why didn't you leave? Why don't you go and help? Why don't we all collectively try to get more awareness to these types of topics? Like, I may be doing a little part just by talking about it. Maybe you didn't see the video. Maybe you weren't in my passenger seat when you saw what I saw. Maybe you weren't in the passenger seat when I saw the addict dropping something and then dropping to the ground in the middle of the street. Do you understand how many addicts there really are who were doing the same exact thing, but yet and still we're okay with yelling at our government for stuff instead of demanding them to help get our people back so people can have some type of life? But we're okay with that, right? Oh, I gotta live my life. Oh my gosh. If we just stop letting our egos think that we have to be so selfish and be more selfless, then maybe we would get more self things. It makes me think about the simple fact that how much do we need to work on ourselves to the point where we can say, all right, I've worked enough on myself. Now I need to work on my community so that we can all get to the point of being a little bit more WHOLE in society. So we're no longer victims, but now we're victors, helping other victims become victors. And then we can all be victorious together. Is that too much to ask for? I think not. I believe, after all, we were just brought here onto this earth so that we can help each other doing menial things, not all of these big trivial things where we're so divided that we don't care. Why is it okay for us not to care? Why is that okay? Why is that acceptable? Why is not caring an acceptable behavior? At what point in time will we say no more? I'm saying no more because I'm talking about it. I'm exposing it. And I'm using that, and I'm leading my life as an example of how I say no. I will not accept us being okay with just being so divided, so okay and freely saying I don't care about this and that and the other. I gotta live my life. No, it's not my own. It's not your own. I will never stand with the tearing down of families. I will never stand down to speaking out when I see stuff that's not right. I will not. And it breaks my little tiny achy breaky heart whenever I see these types of situations unfold right before my eyes and not say anything about it. This is real time. It's real time. Or has my ego been too much to expect a little bit more from our society and from humanity to care a little bit more? Just a little bit. Where we can stand in the gap for each other. Why is that so hard? None of us are that broken where we can't stand in the gap for someone else who's doing a little worse. All of us are strong. Oh my goodness, don't tell me. Well, Joy, I absolutely stand in the gap for a lot of different situations, a lot of different people, whether I say it or not, whether I'm behind the scenes doing stuff or not. And when I say behind the scenes, I'm talking about praying and fasting, right? Right? I don't speak about those things because it's not necessary, because I already know what my purpose is. My purpose, and I've always said, I never, ever want to see people go through half the things that I've had to go through. on the account of another human being or other human beings. I don't want that to happen. So therefore, I do what I have to do. It only takes a little bit. God help. How hard is that? That's 2 seconds. Not even 2 seconds. That's a 1 second thing. If we all could just cry out for help. Like, I'm talking about for supernatural help with these types of scenarios that play out every day, that are not recorded every day. And a friend of mine had to do grand jury for domestic situations. And I didn't hear a lot of stories, but I do know how stressed she was every time she had to go to court. For 8 weeks, she had to sit through different scenarios. She didn't tell me exactly what happened, but she did say a lot of times in these DV situations, the woman would always deny what was reported. Why? I'll tell you why. Fear. Because eventually, the accused will get out and come back. And who's there to protect? Not us. Certainly not us, because we're too busy living our lives, trying to get our lives together. Not saying that we can't get our lives together, but there's other things that are more pressing. I'm not also saying that we should be Superman, Superwomen trying to save the entire world, but we can do something about it by building awareness, by being a little bit more vigilant when we see crazy things happening. Call the cops. Oh, well. Or maybe step in the gap and like, yo, everything all right over here? I'm not trying to get too deep in whatever's going on, but y'all all right? Because sometimes when you break up the momentum, things change. The focus gets refocused, and maybe that refocus would be like them yelling, what you doing in my business? But then that takes away from somebody being hurt. I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is that we need to do more. We should feel like we're required to do more. We should feel required to do more for each other. We should feel required to hold our tongues a little more. Instead of lashing out, just hold back. Wait a second, rethink and reevaluate. Let me see how I could express how I'm feeling without looking like a 2-year-old. Because that's pretty much what the guy was doing when he was throwing whatever he threw, I guess a paper straw or top of a bottle at the bus driver. It was just him doing this. Grown people acting out in such manners and felt comfortable doing that. I was so nervous because when he reached back into his car, I thought in my mind, I said, this man is going to come out with some type of weapon. Because the way he was going in, I was like, ooh, I think I'm about to see something that I can't unsee. So after he threw whatever he threw at the bus continued through the red light. He continued through the red light right next to the bus, parallel to each other. I looked through my rear view just to see what happened. He just drove aggressively off. And I was just like, thank God it didn't continue. Because I could have sworn he was going to get out of his car again and have another little shouting match with the bus driver. Can we not get so angry to the point where we're that bad off, where we need to get out of our vehicles and assault other people, because that is assault. Like, whether you realize it or not, that is assault. When you take something that belongs to you and throw it in a manner where it could possibly hurt or harm someone else, that is an assault. Can we remember the brevity of our actions and how the repercussions can go before we actually do them? Now, what if another car rode up beside him, trying to figure out why is he pulled up and parked at a light and drove a little too close to him while his door was swung wide open and took him out and his door? Am I expecting too much from humanity? Am I really expecting too much? I'm nowhere near perfect, no. But I believe my expectations for humanity doing better is not bad. I don't believe that is too much. I don't believe it's too much. When was the last time you picked up the phone and checked on somebody? When was the last time? Do you know how many people are hurting in silence and in public? When was the last time you checked on somebody? Your friends, your so-called friends, the people that you love. When's the last time you checked on them? Or are you too busy doing you? And there's nothing wrong with doing you, but when was the last time? When was the last time somebody came to your mind and you actually followed through, picked up the phone, or, called them or text them or sent an email? When was the last time? I know earlier this year, I talked about, actually it's a quote in my new book. I can't remember directly what it says, so I can't even plagiarize my own self. But it was to the effect of, there are people who are not okay. And is it too much to expect for us to actually reach out? What happened to the songs? Reach out and touch. Could it be that simple, that we're getting further and further away from human actions because of the music that we listen to? Is that one thing too? Like the new music, the new songs, first of all, they're like 30 seconds long. And they don't really say much. But what happened to the meaning? What happened to us really just caring? Are we that busy? Are we that busy where we can't even reach out and be like, hey, are you all right? Everything good with you? You on my mind. Just checking in. Earlier this year, let me get back to that part of the story. Earlier this year, I found out that somebody had passed away. And I know that they were struggling a lot. And then I said to myself, Joy, when was the last time you reached out to this person? They were on my mind. I'm not feeling guilty about anything. Trust and believe. I'm not feeling guilty about it. But they came to mind, and I still didn't reach out. I'm holding myself accountable for my actions. But how about you? How about you? When's the last time somebody came to your mind and you actually reached out? When? Don't answer the question. I'm just saying. When's the last time? All I'm saying is, we all need to step up our games a little bit more. Absolutely step up a little bit more and be there for each other. Whether you know somebody is in need or not, just step up and be human. Stand in the gap for one another. How hard is that, to stand in the gap, to be the invisible person in the room? How hard is that? You don't even have to say anything. All you have to do is say a couple of prayers and be on your way. Oh, how do I know that we're not doing that already? Because there's too much divide. There's way too much divide. Way too much. And maybe, just maybe, some of us are standing in the gap for each other's downfall. Shame on you if you are one of those type of people, where if things don't go your way, you want nothing to go anybody else's way. Shame on you. And then you wonder why things never go your way. I'm just speaking theoretically. Let's be human again, man. Let's get some feelings back into our souls. Let's start operating a little bit more. Let's start caring a little bit more. Let's stop throwing around words that we truly don't understand or mean. Let's start being human. Oh, I think I might make that a shirt. Let's start being human again. I really think I might just go ahead and design a shirt that says, let's start being human again. I'm getting sick and tired also of driving around and seeing all of these people addicted. Like literally during the day, I just see people left and right, leaning over, screaming at the top of their lungs, falling in the middle of the street, looking horribly unkept. But yet we're arguing about stuff with our government, and we're not holding them responsible for, hey, you say you have these programs, right? You have these programs, but most of these programs give you even more drugs, even more. Most of these programs give you more, so you stay addicted. Maybe we need to hold the people who are writing these policies together a little bit more accountable. Healing starts from the root. And a lot of times we don't like to do the root. We don't even recognize that there's a root that's dead. And all we have to do is prune these roots so that people can heal and become more a part of society. An addict doesn't have to be a professional addict for the rest of their lives. That is not how it has to be. We don't have to go, and I'm not saying that the answer is we just go and be to the rescue and try to counsel people. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we need to be more aware. We need to be more aware. And when we see something, say something. Start holding people more accountable. Start holding, instead of building all of these beautiful, glorious condominiums that are going to implode eventually, why not demand, no, we don't want this in our area. We want some shelter. We want some people, some people to have some job training right in the community. Not for a period of time where it's only a big deal when you're trying to run in for office. But a real center. Like, I used to watch a lot of YouTube where there were, centers out there where people had to fight to get into, people who were less fortunate knew about it. And it was a program where if they started to do right, went back into school, got their GED, then they got their room and board taken care of. And it wasn't even one of those places where you could stay for long. You had 2 years max, because that gives you time to get back on your feet, save your money, and then buy your house. And then the program switches you from that to, okay, now we're going to help you buy a home. Where is the shine for stuff like that that's actually happening in the community? That's more than just hope. That's action. That's doing something about it. These are the things that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about us giving people food weekly. Teach people how to grow their own food. Teach people how to get it. So they're not standing on these long lines and you creating tents where people stand under, signing off on this checklist so that they can get their weekly provisions, week by week. Again, staying used to this is how it's going to be. No. Let's sit down and do an hour-long program. Teach you some skills so that now you don't have to rely on the weekly provision. You could go ahead and get it yourself because you're starting to be an entrepreneur, or you're starting to be able to work or do whatever the case may be. That's what I'm talking about, what we can do as a community. And if you can't physically be there, donate. Put some money behind it. Especially if people are really trying to do it. Put some money behind it. We don't need to get these big grants. It would be helpful, like trust and believe, it'd be helpful to get these grants. But there's so many of us in the community. If we all put $1 together, that could be $2,000. If your community, if your neighborhood had about 5,000 people in it, and we all put $1 in there, in that pot, that's $5,000. That could be rent for a commercial space. But if it's a nonprofit, then it's lower. So now that 5,000 can go into 1,000 or 1,500 into that property. Then 4,000, 3,000 left over for training. Maybe get a barber in there once in a while to let people feel good about themselves. Get a free haircut, but you give the barber a little donation. Everybody can thrive. But it takes a little bit of us going outside of ourselves to help, right? Everybody pitching $1? Y'all know good well you spend more than $1. Everybody spends at least $100 a day. At least minimum $100 a day. That could be in commuting. That could be in buying your lunch, breakfast, and dinner. And that could be entertainment. At least $100 a day. Where the money flows is where it grows. Therefore, a lot of us are putting our monies in places that will not grow. Can't grow because it's not anything to grow. Am I the one that needs to open up a center? Is that part of my calling? Not necessarily. If that door should open, I'll be more than happy to help. I'll be more than happy to help. To be a part of the solution? Oh, I'm down for that. I would sleep so much better if I can know that I was a part of a solution rather than part of destruction. I can sleep good with that. Do you know how much more blessed you would be in so many different ways if you could just be beside yourself just for a couple moments to help those who can't help themselves? But if just by a little bit of love, and I really truly feel that love can really start the healing process for a lot of our situations. Just plain old love. And when I say love, it's just more so like showing concern and care. That is love. Stepping out of our comfort zones, doing things that we typically won't do, which would be, are you okay? How's your day going? Good morning. I hate good mornings, but imagine if we all greeted each other. As simple as that. Imagine how life would be if we all like greeted each other. Every time we walk through a door, you smile. That's a greeting. You don't have to speak audibly all the time. Your eye contact, meet another eyeball. Hey, how you doing? Do you know how many people, if by alone you just by smiling at them, how their day can be enhanced? It's that simple. It's simple gestures that can make profound impact. Or is my expectation a little too high? Is it? No, but I think I've given a lot of different solutions on how we can actually be the difference without having to say a word, or without having to reach in our pockets, or without having us to have to get out of our own comfort zone to really make a profound impact. If we think a little less about ourselves, we can be a little bit better together. If we stop complaining and arguing about things that really have no impact, literally have no impact, if we literally try to work with each other than against each other, if we stop having all of these divides, like on what hood you rep, I'm talking about politically too. What hood you repping, because it is all like gang at the end of the day. Who you repping? You repping blue or red today? Who you repping? Y'all realize that's what it is, right? Who you repping? I don't rep nobody but myself and my community. You ain't gonna have me and nobody battle on what sect is better than the other. Which sect is more right than the other? What sect is really setting us up? They both are, because at the end of the day, they only on themselves. They doing it the right way. But we missing the mark every day. Because we sit there, drink out, sip on our little teas. Did you see that? I don't like them. How do you not like somebody that you don't know? You don't even know the countenance of their heart, because all you see is a beautiful show. Very well poised, questions already predetermined and asked, with a very delicate form of vernacular put together so nicely, makes sense to us. But at the end of the day, they're like, yo, you did that. You got them yet again. Yeah, we did our thing. Rep your set. When the cameras go off, do you really know who you repping for? Because you certainly will not be able to get that close. You know what I'm saying? Because after a while, people need to have security with them, because you know they too tough to touch, right? They can't walk on their own, because you know somebody might be after them. Somebody might try them. You know, they're too popular now. But you repping somebody's set. When we have our community that has our communities continue to fail because we're too busy blaming instead of actually putting our minds together. Oh, but our communities fail because we can't trust each other. Can't trust each other. Rightfully so, I guess. But when are we going to get fed up with that being okay? That's my question. When are we going to get to the point where it's no longer okay? and collectively do something? When is dysfunction going to be no longer okay? Well, hopefully that was food for thought. Or am I expecting too much? Am I? Do I really expect too much? Is my ego that high? I think not. Please, guys, let's get back to caring about each other a little bit more. Let's get back to like reaching out and seeing if everybody's okay. Take 2 minutes out of your day. If somebody comes to mind, stop what you're doing. If you can stop what you're doing, just stop what you're doing. Send a text, send an email, pick up the phone. Yeah, you came into my mind. You okay? And whether they want to answer you honestly or not, at least it stirs something up in them that like somebody cares about me. Because in the midst of you stopping what you're doing, you're helping to calm a storm that you know nothing about. Or maybe it is not a storm. Maybe they're just having even a better day and just even more happy. We don't know. Everything doesn't always have to be doom and gloom. But it makes somebody feel even better. Like, dang, somebody cares about me. They reached out. That's so dope. But for those who are going through doom and gloom, you may save a life and don't even know it. Nor is it your business to know if you saved a life, but you do your part. You continue to do your part. Lives will change. Minds and hearts will become renewed. Love will be restored back in our communities. Faith, togetherness. Then maybe we can have more of these centers that help people who can't help themselves get back into community. Maybe we can start taking back over our communities instead of letting these high rises take over. I mean, maybe it's too late right now, but it doesn't mean that we can't do something. You know how many abandoned houses there are? Drive around your community and see how many abandoned houses there are. And imagine if everybody in your neighborhood band together and put $1. Y'all could probably take a couple months to purchase that and then rehab it and turn it into something good. Is that asking for too much? Is it really? I don't know. Have we gone too far? No, I don't believe it. At the end of the day, I don't believe it. I don't believe that there's not a day, minute, nor hour where if we can't just do a couple of tweaks in our own lives that we can actually make this world a better place. Continue to make it a better place. I believe that. I will probably pass on with that thought. And whether it happens in my time or not doesn't matter. As long as I'm planting different seeds, somebody else will come and water. And it'll eventually grow if it's nurtured properly. That's all I care about. Let me make the soil. Let me prepare the soil. If that's my part, let me help prepare the soil. That's fine. Because I know from the things that I've seen and the things that I've experienced, just by other human beings showing some type of compassion, I'm still here. So therefore, it's my duty to continue to pay it forward regardless of how I feel, regardless of what I'm going through. Because what I'm going through, whenever I'm going through, which is not often, Whenever I'm going through and I can help somebody else, it makes me much better. Try it for yourselves and see what happens. Stop believing the hype behind some of these big politicians, celebrities. Stop getting entangled in that. Refocus into what you can attainably do and touch. And I'm not saying that we just go out and feed people. We need to not only feed people physically, we need to feed people emotionally and spiritually. For those of us who have it together, we need to feed people spiritually and emotionally. That is our duty, I believe. Anyway, I'm just a person who stands firm on what I believe and how our humanity can really thrive if we just give a little bit, just a little bit. $1 a day can keep addiction and hunger away and can actually help people who really want to do something with their lives if they just had a little bit of help. Just a little bit of help. And we can shine the light on people who victimize others, because maybe all they need in order for them to stop victimizing people is a little bit of love. Like, what happened to you? Who victimized you when you were a kid? Help you to get some self-control, some counseling, so that the cycle doesn't continue on with your next generation. It's just like when I told you the other day, some people are born addicts. I literally are born addicts. They go through detox, but no one tells them what their history is. Maybe they don't have, maybe no one knows what their history is. Maybe that just gets lost in files. So it's not always people choosing that. It could be purposefully done to them or just encoded in their DNA and their bloodstream. And then even one little piece of beer or one wine, one shot could spiral out. One smoke can spiral them out. Let's love more, guys. Where is the love? Do, 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 do. Where is the love? What's wrong with love? What's wrong with showing love? What's wrong with receiving love? What's wrong with giving love? There's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. Let's get used to doing that again. Start with yourself and then start with your immediate family. Even if people aren't receptive right away, you continue anyway. Don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Baby, baby, baby. Some people just have to grow through some very deep-rooted things in order to understand and receive the love that you are trying to give. But you don't stop. You keep on. Don't get discouraged if you're not receptive. If recipients are not receptive to the love you're trying to show or giving. Don't be discouraged. Because remember, at one point in time, you were in a place where you were hard to love and was hard to receive love. Remember that. We're not that different. Oh yeah, there was a point where it was hard for me to accept love because of situations that happened in the past, and it's not like bad situations, it's just traumatic things that people have done and said to me, or actions that have done and were said to me and displayed and made me believe that this was what love was all along when it truly wasn't, and I had to relearn what it really meant and what it really is. Oh, we all will be there at one point in time, but somebody didn't give up on me. People didn't give up on me, and I was open and receptive, and now here I am. A little bit more WHOLE as the day goes on. But it doesn't mean that I won't have a relapse. But that's the beauty of all of us. Because if I go into relapse, then I should come to someone's mind, and they should call and be like, hey, Joy, how you doing? Text me. Email me. I was thinking about you. You came to my mind. How's everything? Because I guarantee you that immediately will be like, well, what you mean you was thinking about me? I'm like, all right, I'm good. Actually, but let's do our parts, y'all. Let's do our part. Where is the love? Imagine that. The solution and the answer to all of our issues and problems was love. Imagine if that was it. Imagine if it were that simple. Well, guys, I hate to be the bearer of good news. Partly, that is the answer. It really is. When you're feeling loved, do you feel down? Answer that to yourself. When you are truly feeling loved, are you having a bad time? When someone comes to you in love, instead of arguments, how does that make you feel? You're in the offense, not defense. Right or wrong? When you are feeling love, don't you feel excited? And I'm not saying like romantic. I'm just saying like when you genuinely feel like you are loved, doesn't that make you feel good? Yes, it does. Absolutely. So let's do our parts, guys, and help more people feel loved so that they can climb out of situations and scenarios. So that maybe an addict won't feel like they have to resort to using something that makes them feel loved. Synthetic love. Oh my goodness. People resort to synthetic love because they're not getting it from humans. And that synthetic love is so... I'm trying to gather my words. Give me a second. It's so microwavable. That's the only thing I could think of. It's hot and cold real quick. But then they got to go for more because that hot felt like it was an eternity. But that cold felt like, wait a second, I don't want to feel no cold at all. Let me get back to what I felt hot. So they go to synthetic love. When the true love, which is another human being, do you know how much energy is in between your fingers? Do you know how much energy is in between your eyes? Oh my gosh. And imagine if the human touch, how much energy we give to each other by just the human touch. Oh my goodness. That's part of the answer, y'all. Really. To love someone so much where you want to see them do well, where you want to see them get the help that they need, where your finances will help them get their needs provided for. That is love. Just a touch of loving, a little bit. That's all it's required, just a little bit. Oh my goodness, just a little bit. But my question to you today is, Are you willing to step to the plate and be that willing vessel? Are you? Yes, you are. Because I believe you are. I believe in you. I believe in you. And I believe in humanity. And I believe that all we need is just a little spark to ignite. And we could do so much more. There's so much greatness, right? And for those of you who actually read the Bible, go to church or whatever, didn't he say we'll be doing greater? Like, don't you believe that? So apply it. Oh my goodness, just apply it. Application. Imagine application in our lives. Just do it. Ignore the noise and the distractions and the nonsense out there. Please just ignore it. Because all that's doing is helping us stay divided. Because what we're going to complain about, what sect we repping, when that sect don't even care about you, right? Traditionally, when we think of gangs, we know that they don't care about the people that are actually in it. So what makes them different? They got the same colors. What makes them any different from how they feel about you truly? There isn't any difference. Sorry if I have to put it out there, but I will. And you know, anybody who's been following me for any long amount of time knows that I talk like this all the time. I've always done it. Check out all the other Hello Worlds on the YT streets. I've always spoken like this. Because if we stop being distracted, we can actually get things done. I'm not crazy. And if you think I am, test the theories for yourself and see what happens. Because everything that I speak about, especially when it comes to being a recipient of love for real, and it's not like necessarily like love staying in my life, it's just love like, yo, Joy, you all right? That is love. Just checking up on me is love. Sowing a seed here and there is love. Being present is love. Not adding to my downfall is love. Oh, you don't? Of course there are. I can only be suppressed for so long. Eventually, I will be resounding. And there's nothing that anyone can do about that. You want to know why? Because there's that replay. Anybody can replay. And even if they delete me, I got a terabyte worth of content that can be re-uploaded, re-uploaded, reintroduced. Timeless. So, what will you be doing to help your community thrive? What part will you play to help your community thrive? Reach out and touch. I don't know. Sometimes those songs be hitting me in my head and I'm just like, ooh, sing it. And I'm like, no, don't sing it. Then I'm like, yes, I will. Oh, well. Anyway, I just had to get that off of my chest because I'm tired of seeing these scenarios. I'm tired of feeling so hurt. Not because it's me, but because it's the potential life that's just wasting away. and we all just watch. And I'm not, am I part of the problem because I just watch? No, but I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it. So maybe somebody else who sees me that has a greater capacity could actually do something more than I can do, but at least I'm talking about it. It hurts. It really hurts when I see others down. It bothers me to the core. It bothers me to the core because I know what it was like being down, and I know what it's like being up. And I just want to pull you up. Pour back into your communities. Die to your ego. Help people. Reach out. Spend a little time with others. Volunteer through your hurt so it doesn't hurt anymore. Work through your traumas so that they're not as traumatic anymore. We have an opportunity to do so much greater. I will never stop. At least I know I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, but my desire is that it will hurt less. That it would just absolutely hurt less. I don't care. You could call me sensitive, oversensitive. You could say, well, I don't care. Somebody needs to care more. Somebody does. And if that has to be me, then fine. So be it. I'll be the ram in the bush. Know that you are beautiful and amazing. There is no mistake about you. Every single thing that you've gone through in your life, whether good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, does not determine who you truly are and what you are capable of doing. Remember, you are loved and you are loved. You are loved by so many, and there are so many that need your love. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. You are beautiful. Please don't forget that. Because I know a lot of times we don't see ourselves as beautiful. I know we don't see it. I know we don't. Because sometimes well, not recently, but like in the past, I could see why I feel like I'm not beautiful. I could see it because I wasn't looking at my soul. I was looking at the exterior. I was looking at how people were viewing me. I was looking at myself through other people's perspectives. And I understood that I wasn't beautiful. I felt like I wasn't beautiful. But when I start realizing how much more valuable I truly am and how much valuable I'm truly needed, because somebody needs you. You would not be here breathing. You would not be here being able to have the ability of your limbs if you weren't necessary for some other person or people. That is how important you truly are. So you are beautiful. When I say you are beautiful, these are the reasons why. Because you were blessed enough to be here because somebody needs you. Somebody is relying on your breakthrough so that they can get through. Somebody's relying on you to help them through. Just like you relied on someone else and other people to help you get through. That's what humanity is all about. Let's be human again. Let's bring back humanity. Humanity is dope. Let's not be so much robotic that it's okay. Like, let's be human again. My name is Joy from Be the Difference. If you are ever interested or in need of custom printed items, you can go to btdillc.com. If you like the design that I'm wearing, this is the traditional glow-in-the-dark logo, Be the Difference. Go on over to the website again, btdifferencellc.com. Follow on every single platform under btdllc or Be the Difference Clothing, and I guarantee you you'll find content on there that is specifically made to encourage and inspire. Maybe it might inspire you, maybe it might encourage, maybe it might stir something up in you, maybe it might make you angry, maybe it might make you sad, maybe it might make you happy. But just remember, if it makes you angry or sad, then it's something that you need to work on for yourself, and it's exposing something about you that is inadequate, that needs to be worked on. So it's not me. Blame yourself. But please, never give up and never quit, because you are important. So please. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Hello Dramatics. Please. World. Oh, I almost kicked the box over. World. Hello, world. Hello, world. Anyway, y'all know I'm a little off sometimes, but it's okay. I forgive me. Thanks again, y'all. I'll see you very soon. I go live almost every day on about a couple of platforms, whether it be one or two or at least three. I will be there. So if you ever need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out, because at least if there's nothing I can do in any other way, supporting you is one thing that I would not mind doing if you need it. If you need somebody to talk to, if you need to vent at any point in time, please do not hesitate, because that is what I am here for. I don't mind, because the more free you can be, the better your life is. Thanks again, y'all. I'll see you very soon. Bye. I'm still here. I can't even exit good, all right? I'll see y'all later.